India, officially the Republic of India, is a country that occupies the greater in South Asia. It is the seventh largest country by area, the second most populous country with over 1.2 billion after China. It is also the most populous democracy in the world. It is bounded by Indian Ocean on the south, the Arabian Sea of the southwest, and the Bay of Bengal on the southeast. It shares land borders with Pakistan to the west, China, Nepal and Bhutan to the northeast, and Myanmar, Burma and Bangladesh to the east. In the Indian Ocean, India is in the vicinity of Sri Lanka and Maldives. It is a constitutional republic consisting of 29 states, each with a substantial degree of control over its own affairs, 6 less fully empowered union territories, and the Delhi National Capital Territory, which includes New Delhi, India's capital. Economy. In 2015, the Indian economy was the world's 7th largest by nominal GDP and 3rd largest by purchasing power. Diversity of wildlife of a variety of protection habitats. India's agriculture is composed of many crops, with the foremost food staples being rice and wheat. India farmers also grow pulses, potatoes, sugarcane, oilseeds, and such non-food items as cotton, tea, coffee, rubber, and jute. India is a fisheries giant as well. A total catch of about 3 million metric tons annually ranks India among the world's top 10 fishing nations. Despite the overwhelming size of the agricultural sector, however, yields per hectare of crops in India are generally low compared to international standards. Improper water management is another problem affecting India's agriculture. At the time of increasing water shortages and environmental crisis, for example, the rice crop in India is allocated disproportionately high amounts of water. Agriculture and allied sectors like forestry and fisheries accounted for 13.9% of the GDP in 2011. Agriculture in India has a significant history. Today, India ranks second worldwide in farm output. India's economy is mainly based on agriculture. The most important parameter for the agriculture is timely and sufficient supply of water. Most of the farmers are dependent on electric pumps for irrigation, in which demand electricity. Indian agriculture scenario. Let's look at its SWOT analysis. Strengths: rich biodiversity, arable land, climate, strong and well-dispersed research and extension system. Weaknesses: fragmentation of land, low technology inputs, unsustainable water management, poor infrastructure, and low value addition. Opportunities: bridgeable yield crops, exports, agro-based industry, and horticulture. Threats: unsustainable resource use, unsustainable regional development, and imports. World Trade Organization in Indian agriculture. Implications for policy and research and development. Two major developments impacting Indian agriculture during 19th have been the Agreement on Agriculture implemented from January 1st, 1995 under WTO. Second, emergence of a highly volatile price regime thereafter. What is WTO? WTO is the only international organization dealing with global rules of trade between nations. WTO's benefits are: the system helps promote peace, disputes are handled constructively, rules make life easier for all, freer trade cuts the cost of living, it provides more choice of products and qualities, Trade raises incomes. Trade stimulates economic growth. The basic principles make life more efficient. Governments are shielded from lobbying. The system encourages good government.
All the members countries of WTO are committed to follow such rules embodied in WTO Agreement on Agriculture, which cover market access, the tariffication, binding and reduction commitments on tariff and tariff quotas commitment, prohibition not to maintain, resort or revert to quantitative restriction, variable levies, minimum import prices, discretionary import licensing, voluntary export restoring, and non-tariff varies by state trading enterprise. Export subsidies, domestic support are the three categories of domestic support. Greenbacks, they tend to be programs that are not targeted at particular product and include direct income support for farmers that are not related to current production level prices. They are allowed without limits, provided they comply with the policy-specific criteria set out in Annex 2. Contains fully authorized aid takes in subsidies that do not distort trade or only minimally. They have to be government-funded and must not involve price support. Blue box includes subsidies that are linked to one product but do not increase according to production levels. At present, there are no limits on spending on blue box subsidies. In the current negotiation, some countries want to keep the blue box as if it's because they see as if a crucial meaning of moving away from distortion amber box subsidies without causing too much hardship. Others wanted to set limits or to reduction commitments. Some advocating movement this support into the amber box. Amber box. These supports are subject to limits de minimis. Minimal support are allowed 5% of agricultural production for development countries, 10% for development countries, and 30 WTO members that had largest subsidies than the de minimis level at the beginning of the post-Uruguay round reform period are committed to reduce these subsidies. Aggregate measurement of support is an indicator on which the domestic support discipline for Uruguay round agreement on agriculture is based.
Agricultural policy in India is mostly designed by the government for raising agricultural production and productivity and also raising the level of income and standard of living of farmers within a definite time frame. This policy is formulated for all-round and comprehensive development of the agricultural sector. Agricultural policy main objectives are raising the productivity of inputs, raising value added per hectare, protecting the interests of poor farmers, modernizing agricultural sector, checking environmental degradation, agricultural research and training, and removing bureaucratic obstacles.
How to modernize the agriculture? For modernization of agriculture, scientific methods should be applied. Qualitative seeds, chemical fertilizer, and pesticides should be made available to the Indian farmers. Central and state government has given top to the dominance agriculture. Multi-purpose projects are being in all the states of India. Macro management scheme will aim at all-around development in agriculture through work plans prepared by states. These include: number 1, reflection at local needs, crops, region, specific prioritize. Number 2, providing flexibility and autonomy. 3, optimum utilization at scarce financial resources. Number 4, maximization of returns. Number 5. Removal of regional imbalances. Macro management in agricultural planning are production of food grains, macro management in agriculture planning, and on-farm water management in Eastern India. Physical factors of affecting agriculture are climate, soil, and topography. Climate requires sufficient heat and moisture for their growth. Normally, regions having maximum temperature of less than 10% degree are not suitable for plant growth. Soils generally, the soils which are found at the place of their origin known as residual soils are proper than those which have been transported from the place of their origin.
Economic factors. Market distance from the market determines the cost of transportation. Transport facilities. The development of efficient means of transportation widen the market for agricultural products.
Post-WTO trade regime. Lessons for India. Wide-ranging economic reforms introduced in India during 1991 boosted the agricultural trade, export as well as imports. And the net trade surplus in agriculture increased from $2 billion during 1992 to 1993 to $4.33 billion during 1995 to 1996. India is facing challenges in traditional export items. The challenge is not from the developing countries but from the developed countries. Major of vegetable oils are from the developing countries, Malaysia and Indonesia. And India has done well in export of high-value products to the developed countries. India has to learn lessons from these trends and other experiences. The Agreement on Agriculture created an environment of trade reforms and initiated the trade liberation in agriculture. Other lessons include WTO seeks to remove the barriers of our own market and their own market. India needs not to be extremely defensive and inward-looking as our agriculture has to demonstrate strength which need to be appropriately used to compete in the global market. Otherwise, it will become a case of missed opportunity. As a net exporting country, India stands to gain from increase in international prices, which is possible only if we relentlessly fight for reductions of domestic subsidies and support export subsidies in the developed countries. Once this is done, the possibility of import trade for our key export products like dairy, wheat, cotton, sugar will disappear. Import trade can be surmounted by general provision of rising tariff to bound level and of asking for special treatment, packages like S&D treatment, sensitive products. To comply with quality standards to effectively compete in the global market, we must demand as a first step that all countries should notify their quality requirements clearly on WTO website.
Enabling policy and institutional mechanism to safeguard agriculture under WTO regime. Intellectual property rights or IPR issues. The scope of IPR covers seeds, agri-chemicals, tools, input delivery, control systems, post-harvest agriculture, food products, non-food products, etc. Now, prior approval of National Biodiversity Authority has been made mandatory for seeking IPR on innovation using national bioresources and associated traditional knowledge. Technical barriers to trade or TBT and sanitary and phytosanitary SPS issues in food sector. The main objective is to protect risks to human beings, animals and plants. The guiding principles should be transparency and avoidance or arbitrary SPS standards. State-level WTO issues. The states are important stakeholders in trade and therefore should be regularly consulted in trade policy matters. Response and reorientation of the R&D system. For the reorientation of R&D systems, following features of our R&D system should be kept in view. Size and spread of national agricultural research system. inability to fully and effectively mainstream the demonstrated benefits through policy recommendations. The deliberation of the workshop suggested the following policy initiatives and action points. India needs to devise appropriate domestic policies, extensive domestic market reforms, heavy investment in building and maintaining infrastructure, etc., to improve efficiency and competitiveness of domestic produce. It should be continued to play leadership role in negotiating agreements with sound analytical basis and support of other developing countries with similar interest, export of high-value bases and support of other developing countries with similar interest, export of high-value products, horticulture products, processed products, marine products and rice,